This is Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. If you are a regular viewer of Weather for Weather Geeks, thanks for tuning in, as always. And if you're new to these videos, if maybe the YouTube algorithm sent you here, I'm a television meteorologist based in Youngstown, Ohio. The focus of these videos is mostly on Ohio and western Pennsylvania, but we do take a look at some bigger weather stories across the country. We take a look at some climate topics, some long-range ideas as well. So even if you're not terribly interested in the weather in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania, hopefully you'll find some value from these videos. And if you like what you see, make sure you subscribe to these videos on YouTube and turn on the notifications for when I post new content. All right, on this Tuesday evening, what else is new? It was a warmer than average day today. A gusty breeze in 51 this afternoon. Notice at the airport in Vienna, we had a wind gust of 42 miles per hour. This was a really blustery afternoon, but at least the sun was shining, and once again, it was warmer than the average. We haven't had a cooler than average high temperature now since the 4th day of February. We started the month with 3 out of 4 days being cooler than the average in terms of high temperatures. Ever since then, it's been a warmer than average, and by a fair margin. Compared to the average, the coolest days we've had have still been 6 above average, back on the 11th, and then again on the 18th. Today we were 12 degrees above the average, which is in the upper 30s. All right, the leaf out has reached New York City. It's kind of climbed the Jersey Shore up to New York City. Things are blooming in D.C., Baltimore, the Philadelphia area, even as far north as Marietta, Parkersburg, Charleston, West Virginia. We're seeing things blooming. And, you know, I have some scattered reports that people have talked to me about, talked with me with on social media about things, you know, certain types of things starting to show signs of life. And, you know, all this is not great news. I mean, we're enjoying the warm weather, most of us anyway, but this is not great news for stuff to be greening up and blooming this early. I think a lot of this stuff is going to pay the price when it comes to March. In the meantime, we had a couple of rain showers in the area this morning. Time lapse from high above our transmitter tower in Youngstown shows the brightening sky this afternoon. Gusty breezes, pretty nice outside for the second half of the day. I mentioned the peak airport wind gust, but routinely we were gusting between 30 and 40 from about 11 in the morning through about 3 in the afternoon. The wind started to diminish as we got closer to sunset, and now that we're past sunset, the wind is calming down rather quickly. The weather anything but calm, though, across the lower 48 states. A doozy of a long duration, high impact winter storm getting organized in the Intermountain West and getting set to head out into the Plain States, and so much real estate is covered by winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, blizzard warnings in the Dakotas and Minnesota, parts of Wyoming as well. Winter storm warnings from the mountains of the West Coast through the Intermountain West, through the Upper Midwest, into Michigan. Winter storm watches and winter weather advisories, even as nearby as some of our neighbors to the east-northeast. Winter weather advisories up for Central PA, Altoona, Johnstown, State College, Williamsport, heading up towards the southern tier of New York as well. This is easily going to be the biggest winter storm of the season so far for many locations in the upper Midwest especially. There's going to be a foot, maybe even 2 feet of snow in some spots, especially eastern South Dakota, the southern tier of Minnesota, and a foot plus will be pretty common, I think, in a lot of Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan, northern lower Michigan, then right across towards Toronto, Niagara Falls, Syracuse, Albany, all those places, all the way across to Burlington, Vermont, Nashua, New Hampshire. A lot of Maine will do pretty well, but all of this is to the north. And the icing issues in areas that won't get a ton of snow but might have some impactful ice, even most of this is going to be to our north and east. I think it's going to be especially problematic in the higher terrain along the PA Turnpike, heading east of Pittsburgh by an hour or two, heading across the mountainous terrain, across I-80, especially east of Lake Dubois, once you get over towards Clearfield, Williamsport, the State College exit, along Interstate 80 in central PA. We're going to have to watch for some freezing rain issues tomorrow into tomorrow evening, and up towards the southern tier of New York, the I-86 corridor, the Finger Lakes region, and I do think the icing could be especially problematic in far, far northwest Ohio and southern Michigan as well. Now, technically, we could have some freezing rain here, but I mean, it's just a technicality tomorrow morning, and I say that because we're not going to have rain with 30 or 29 degrees. We might have rain falling into 32-degree air briefly. That's probably not going to be enough to cause any sort of icing issues here locally, but technically speaking, we could have freezing rain for a time at the onset of our rain tomorrow morning. But this will be a pretty good drink of water and a cold rain for a lot of the midday and afternoon tomorrow as we struggle to get out of the 30s between tomorrow and tomorrow night, expecting probably 3/4 of an inch to perhaps up to an inch worth of rain. Hourly rain chances breaking down like this. Don't forget, check out the hourly forecasts anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app. We think it's the best weather app you can find for our local area, and these rain chances peak from about 10 to 1 or 2. Rain chances start to decrease somewhat towards evening. We'll probably squeeze in several dry hours past sunset as temperatures start warming. We'll reach the middle 40s towards sunset, and then probably well up into the 50s for a time tomorrow night. All right, my model is not going to show anything here. Ruh-roh. All right, well, anyway, the idea is temperatures warm up into the 50s for a time tomorrow night. It cools down briefly late tomorrow night, first thing Thursday morning, but in the wake of the second warm front, here we go, a screaming southwest wind on Thursday. The record is 69. We'll come close to that in the afternoon on Thursday, but this is going to be a dramatic change by Thursday night and into Friday morning. In fact, I looked at the numbers. The biggest or largest temperature drop over a 15-hour time period. And this is roughly what I think the time frame will be, about a 15-hour period from our peak temperatures Thursday to temperatures kind of bottoming out Friday morning, say between 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. as a rough 15-hour period. We might make it on this list. In fact, I think we probably will make it on this list. The biggest 15-hour temperature drop was back in the spring of 1986. We dropped from 81 to 31 from the afternoon of April 1st to the morning of April 2nd. We won't reach 81 tomorrow, but we might hit 70. And this could be kind of a comparable drop to maybe this one in 1966, 75 to 30. This one down here, I don't think we get to 73 tomorrow, but we might make it to 69 or 70. And then again, I think we drop into the mid-20s by daybreak on Friday. The last time we had a pretty dramatic drop like this, of course, it wasn't that long ago. It was right before Christmas. As that Arctic cold front blasted through, we went from about 40 in the wee hours of the morning to -4 a few hours after sunset, the evening of the 23rd, setting the stage, of course, for rapid freeze-up and easily the worst part of the winter, right before Christmas. It's been a cakewalk ever since. I do think temperatures will rebound pretty nicely over the weekend, not back to 70, but we'll probably crack 40 on Saturday and make our way up to 50 or so on Sunday. I'm starting to put together the recap of winter and the preview of spring. We'll even do maybe a little bit on summer in that preview that I'm going to put online early next week, so we're starting to look at some of that stuff. If you have some agricultural interests, if you're a gardener, these things might be especially interesting to you as we head into growing season in 2023. So again, look for that content early on next week, and thank you for watching this Tuesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks.